Let's keep it on the hardwood, shall we? Lakers trying to make a playoff push in a crowded Western Conference. LeBron James and the Lakers taking on the Pelicans. Under 7 minutes left in the first quarter, James goes to block Jose Alvarado. Alvarado gets the score, but James comes down, grabbing his hand. Take a closer look at it. The thumb gets stuck in the rim. Ouch.
I hate it when that happens to me.
Oh, because you're dunking, right?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I don't know about that.
You have to be careful, Bron.
James will get his hair wrapped up on the bench, but comes back into the game under 8 minutes left in the second quarter. James turns around, knocks down the jumper. The hand still works. Lakers lead by 1. Under 3 minutes left in the second, Luka Doncic, that goes in. Doncic has missed his last 11 three-point attempts dating back to Monday, trying to get things rolling. Third quarter, Lakers up by 1. Austin Reeves drives inside, gets the bucket plus the foul. Reeves had 30 points in 4 of his last 5 games. Doncic again nails the long 3. He finished with 35 points. Fourth quarter, Reeves comes up with a loose ball, goes behind the back, throws it up to James. Right here up the court for the two-hand jam. The thumb is fine. It didn't get hurt that bad. James with 27 points, 8 assists, and Lakers go on to win it 124-1.
The thing I want to talk about in this sort of this vein is the Lakers defense. Because throughout the course, before the Luka trade, any discussion with the Lakers, I was kind of boring. I'd be like, well, I can't take them seriously. They're 23rd in defense or 26th in defense. Like, okay, maybe, Austin Reeves will have a big shooting night, or D'Angelo Russell will have one of the nights where he goes 6 of 9 from 3 and they can beat anybody. And yeah, they're good at home, but I can't look at them seriously. Even with LeBron's playing great, I can't look at them seriously and say they're going to win 12 playoff games to get to the finals. They trade for Luka, and my response is, oh my God, what an amazing trade. This sets them up beautifully for the medium-term future. I think their team is unbalanced. And I even was saying, like in the wake of the Luka trade, I'm not putting any pressure on this Laker team at all this year. If they are able to win a playoff round, you believe in Luka and LeBron, but how can you possibly look at the way this team is structured with no interior defense, they're not even a good defensive team anyway. And they just added Luka, and they're going to play him next to Austin Reeves. And how do I look at that team and say they're going to be able to defend? But JJ Redick leans into playing small, playing Dorian Finney-Smith big minutes, basically playing center, or LeBron playing center, or Luka playing center, depending on how you do it. And he just encourages the team to play maximum effort. And Pelton, they start winning. They start winning with getting teams, leaving 3-point shooters that they don't fear open, and living and dying with that. And all of a sudden they're like a top 6 defense for like 4, 5, 6 weeks. And they start raffling off victories. And I'm like, well, this is a significant sample size. Like, I can't ignore a team playing 20 games of top 10 defense. And then LeBron gets hurt and they go the other direction and they play 10 games of bottom 10 defense. So now they're back whole and they're doing the small thing. They did this against the Rockets the other night, and it was successful. I don't know what happened in this Warriors game tonight. I'm still not putting a lot of pressure on the Lakers. I still am not going to say that it's like championship or bust, like so many people are saying, or at least get to the finals or bust. Or, I have the audacity to believe that a team that might win 70 games is a legitimate favorite, which can seem like counter programming at some point. I don't even think it's, to be honest with you, it's an easy position for me to take. And I'll go on First Take with Stephen A. and Shannon Sharpe all day long, because it's not even, I don't have to stick my neck out to defend the Thunder, but whatever. What am I to make of this Laker defense, and where do you think it's headed?
Yeah, so they were number 1 in defensive rating in the NBA in the month of February. They then were number 17 in March. I mean, the fascinating thing is you mentioned LeBron's injury, and this has been one of the large sample, small sample confounding things of the NBA this season that our new colleague Zach Cram wrote about, I think last month or maybe back in February, which is that the Lakers have been better this season with LeBron on the bench, or at least at that point. I'm not totally sure. They still have been much better defensively with him on the bench, even though he was out during that stretch where they were really struggling defensively, because it wasn't just him out, it was also Jackson Hayes and Rui Hachimura. So any semblance of size that they had, or quality size that they had,
right? They were playing two-way guys at center, routinely playing two-way guys at center.
a lot of Trey Jemison the third. So yeah, and yet still the Lakers since the All-Star break have been better defensively with LeBron on the bench and on the court. And
having said that, when you see LeBron play defensively on the nights when he's engaged, there's no doubt he's making a positive influence. And JJ Redick has noticed that. So while I believe those numbers, I also kind of say that doesn't tell the whole story, but I believe them.
Yeah, it's a case where even the large sample size of a full season of on-off data is still a relatively small sample size because of the fact that, we talk a lot about opponent three-point shooting and how noisy it can be at the team level. But think about it when you're slicing it into just LeBron's minutes versus LeBron's minutes off, you're not just doubling that variance, you're multiplying the variance by each other is what you're doing. So, it therefore sets up a lot of situations. One of the ones that was most notable was Kawhi Leonard. I think the year after he won Defensive Player of the Year, the Spurs were better defensively with him on the bench. And that was one of those things you dug into. And it was really all a product of opponent 3-point shooting and obviously did not continue going forward. So I think that's what's happening with LeBron. I do think the Lakers were going to be hard pressed to keep up what they were doing. If you look at that February stretch, opponents, they were number one in the league by a wide margin in terms of holding opponents based on their expected shot making, based on the second spectrum tracking, which captures where the shot is, how close defenders are, what type of shot, all of those things. And then also the ability of the shooter in one of the models that they have quantified shot probability. The funny thing is in March, they've still been very good in that regard. They are, still substantially below it, but their shot profile in terms of the shots they're giving up, despite this argument that they're leaving the right shooters open, hasn't really borne out statistically. The expected shot quality was in the bottom 10 in February. It's gotten a little bit even worse than that in March. So they're giving up shots. And right now, I think, I do think that their size, their length at multiple positions, the fact that even though they don't have, that classic 7-foot rim protector or Anthony Davis playing power forward or anything like that. What they do have is a lot of size across multiple positions. Because
Jared Vanderbilt for sure.
And when they start the game, Austin Reeves is their smallest guy on the court. There's no one little out there for the Lakers. And by the way, wait, are we sure D'Angelo Russell played for the Lakers this season? That can't be possible, right? That was like 5 years ago.
I seem to recall it. Point well taken. I will say this. While I can't possibly guess what the Lakers defense will be in the playoffs, for the Lakers to have a run, I think they need obviously health. They need LeBron to, he just hasn't quite been the same player since the groin injury. They need that. They need LeBron to be somewhat healthy. And they really, I think, need to be in the 2 or the 3. Number one, while I certainly would never look Luka Doncic or LeBron James in the face and say, you can't win a road playoff game. There's so much a better team when they have home court, and that first round series would be such an advantage to them because they're going to be playing a quality team. They could end up having to play Minnesota. They could end up having to play Golden State, and they need home court in that series. The second thing is if you're in the 2 or 3, it means you're opposite the Thunder. So your chances of making a long run may be tied to not having to face them. And so